Live tonight on the Architects of Humanity. Here we are together again on the radio. Calix, what's up, bro? Good to see you. You know, man. Let's go. What's up, Roxana Faye? Good evening to you too. Yeah, tonight is again Architects of Humanity is research I've been doing for over 12 years, and it's astonishing. I know that people were kind of perplexed, maybe, I guess the word is, with my theory of adaptation, which is based on scientific evidence, much more scientific than the pseudo scientific establishment would agree. You know, the people that support the religion of evolution. There's so many things. Mr. X and I will probably start talking on some streams about how the evolution sequence is just not actually feasible. Also, it was started to keep people against each other, to turn people to say, look, you're different. You're closer to an animal while other people are not as close. So they try to bring in the we're all just basic animals, and of course it'll exonerate any crimes. Hey, you know what? All of the stuff that happened throughout history, it's evolution, man. That's just the way it is. It's amazing that people would believe this, but when you look and you track how it has come into existence, we see, oh, right around the turn of the Civil War and the Emancipation of Proclamation, that's when the origin of species of the favored races was created. And that book went on to spark just a whole new type of pseudoscientific racism that this kept it alive after slavery was so-called ended formally in America. And then he wrote The Descent of Man, just calling for the extinction of anybody who was not what they deemed to be human or human enough, where he said sometime in the near future, in less than 100 years. I mean, this guy, when you look at the whole thing, the editor on Origin of Favored Races, because they like to just say it's on the origin of species. Yeah. Or the preservation of favored races. What does that sound like? That sounds like the bigots today that talk about the preservation of what favored races. I mean, how blatant is that? There's a guy in New Zealand or something. I mean, blatant bigot, and he just basically, I mean, he's like in bed with the Gnosis stream. He likes to curse at people and get mad at them for no reason whenever you challenge his position on evolution, because it puts him in the false superiority position, when actually none of these guys can even remember who their great grandfather is. These are the bottom of the barrel that were scraped up. And then when the barrel was moved, they took whatever was underneath the barrel and then shipped it off to these countries to just decimate populations. And that's how you get the Western world today. So, not saying everyone, but definitely the majority. Let's see what tritonic trigs. We evolved separately. Really, another jackass. Total full-blown jackass. But thank you for showing us where you're at, because everybody has non-melanated ancestors. And whether you like it or not, you're just like the rest of us. See, that's what we have when we bring in stuff like this. We will always have bigots that come in and try to use this research for their own agenda, and that won't be allowed. As Varun, good to see you, brother. Always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure, bro. But this stream, we'll be talking about how, that whole thing about the Negroid and Homo erectus, all lies. All lies. They don't want to know that we all come from the same creation, the same type of creation. We're all on the surface. And the architects of humanity have, if you look at the madness, right, of people polluting the air, the sky, I mean, this is the land, the water. I mean, when you have pollution to a point where fish are turning hermaphroditic and the birds eating those fish are giving birth to hermaphroditic children, and nobody cares about that. Hey, oh, we evolved. Evolution, you have to be a special type of ignorant to believe in that. And again, it's a belief. It's a belief. A person will not know how a cell can form. They will not know how a multicellular organism works, how complex foundational systems can only be formed all at once. Blood clotting, 12 major components. If you're missing one, you bleed to death. You need all 12. There is no evolution for that. But then again, remember, there are some people that have been given a superiority complex, and it blinds them. And this goes in all colors, all people. It spreads like a mental infection. And people will call people things like the so-called hominids and the Negroid race and the Caucasoid and the these are all lies to keep people separated. All of our origins are non-melanated, all of them. And this is something that they don't want you to know, because if people see Architects of Humanity, I might start a Kickstarter to make the documentary, because it's taken me a lot of time just to put 12 years to put just most of the research together. But when I look at it, I start to say, this is a serious undertaking. People are only going to oppose me. So again, it's an undertaking that I've been taking on while people are always trying to batter it down, because they've been raised to believe the theory of evolution. They've joined that religion, and now they'll defend it. So I'm mature enough to understand that their behavior will come out in these types of ways, because you're pulling the rug from under their feet. You're showing them that when you look at all the leaders of all countries, they act in extremely immature manner. Extremely. There are a few countries, let me revise that, where the leaders are quiet. So actually, those are the mature ones, when you don't hear too much from them. I'll hand it to China and these other guys, Russia and them, that they'll stay a little more quiet than the buffoons that we have in politics in America. It's a show. It's a show. And they actually had an African leader that made a good point. He said, how is it? I mean, the hypocrisy of it. Hypocrisy. Digging minerals out, polluting rivers. I mean, we see this on the regular. They're using people to strip mine the earth. Now, I wrote something. Let me see if I still got it here. And I might put this out there, because ignorance, man, there's no shortage of ignorance. I've noticed that. There's just definitely no shortage of ignorance. But imagine, right? Just, it's a scenario that I had thought of. And I said, imagine if we were created in a laboratory deep within the earth, or under a suboceanic dome that would provide protection from solar radiation. And somehow, possibly through either being released or encountering some type of catastrophe that allowed us to escape, we became stranded on the planet's surface. We survived and learned how to navigate this minefield called nature, only to adapt over millennia into the wide variety of different colors we see today. And maybe we came on the surface at different times, and the melanin is what separates us from that time. So the times that we come on the surface and start to adapt, and the areas and the amount of radiation at that time that is coming from the sun, or maybe electromagnetic radiation, alters the human organism. The human adapts. Remember, evolution is not true. It's a lie. Adaptation is real. Evolution is such a deceitful religion that it'll try to hijack words. Oh, adaptation. No, that's evolution. No, it's not. That's adaptation. And adaptation happens because of an environmental stress. So that doesn't happen by random. There's no natural selection or random mutation. No. This is a directed adaptation. When somebody tans in the sun. Is that random? Is that, random mutation? No, that's a direct adaptation, to the sun. So as I go forward, and after eons of time, the architects of humanity send their new models, kind of like Tritonic, people who are just mindless, that are just willing to go out there and kill anybody and say, look, we're different. We come from different people, and we don't have a relation to you. That's why I'm glad he left this comment here, and I'm highlighting it so we can see the ignorance of this, that people try to separate. No, we have no relation, right? Really. Homo erectus is a fraud. It's a regular human skeleton. And so are all the others, apes and humans. And they try to say, oh no, this comes from that. Well, these are the same people that told you Christopher Columbus discovered America when there's no documentation of him ever landing on North America. 4 voyages, still didn't hit North America. And this great captain, crashed on the shores of San Salvador in the Bahamas. And of course, the natives came to his rescue. So we already see a lot of these people, just like Tritonic, cannot be trusted. These are demons cloaked in flesh. Alexis June, good to see you. People are saying we all came from Africa. Professor Dave is a propaganda machine pushing that crap. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. The fragile ego of these males who have never matured into men, Alexis. And we have one here, Tritonic. And these men, it's not all white males, man, because you have black males, but the majority are guys like Tritonic, because they haven't been given they haven't been dealt a good set of cards. Women don't like them, many of them, and they get mad. And when they, what's so funny is when they see a beautiful white woman with somebody that is not a white male, and that woman is genuinely attracted to them because they're tired of the crap. I've had guys on other streams that have told me stuff like that openly, and it lets me see a little deeper into people. I'm not here to shame anyone. I'm just to educate. This is just about education. If you're offended, well, you're going to have to take a number and stand in line behind the other people that are offended. So these new models that might have been created, were created by the architects of humanity. You see the way they're sent out. You can just look at the modern history. When people tell me that white birth rates are dropping, and you notice that Canada, America, Latin America, Australia were all countries with melanated people, and now they're majority white people, and now birth rates are dropping. I mean, the major extinction we know is from Tasmania, and who's responsible for that genocide? There's no more Tasmanian people. Those people do not exist no more. Purposely slaughtered by Christians. White, Anglo-Saxon, Protestant, WASP, right? They also call that we are Satan's people. But I have very good friends. I have people I care about that are from that ethnicity. So I know it's not all people like that. I know there are good people that come in all colors. But for some reason, we have it on the black, on the white, on all sides. This hatred that has to be minimalized. It has to be, because people are they're gonna explode, man. They're ready. I mean, you look at what's happening. I mean, I can't even believe these people won't call out the person in office and stuff that's going on. But as I get deeper into this, to show people that our original form, Dave isn't even a professor. Dave is a fake. They've called him out on that so much. And remember, look at him. All you got to do is look at him, Alexis, and you see what's up. Deep down inside, the bigotry is there, the hatred for anything that has color. I don't know if it's an envious thing or if it's just ignorance on a level that I can't comprehend yet. But I see for what it is. Now, into the lesson of where do we come from? Architects of Humanity. Hopefully the book will be out soon. I'll see what I can do. I might do a Kickstarter for the documentary. I'm not sure. You guys know there's a lot of stuff I do every day, and I'm not sure. I'm hoping to really get this out this month, man. Doing these streams every night, it's a little tough, but Architects of Humanity should be coming soon. And as I talked about it the other day, was the melanin. When I thought, I'm telling people the albino form, the angelfish, an albino angelfish, albino dolphins, squirrels, people. This seems to be the original form. This form adapted to the planet, gaining color. Now, where's some scientific evidence of this? Well, we can see people with a so-called disorder, they say, vitiligo or vitiligo. And they try to, of course, give it all these different names. Now, this shows you that the melanin is receding. It's showing you what's underneath. I mean, this is a picture that people don't like to look at. Imagine, like I said, that I was reading the thing off, right? Imagine that we were created in a laboratory deep within the earth or under a suboceanic dome that would provide protection from solar radiation, right? And somehow we got on the planet's surface, started to adapt and gain melanin, right? So this comes from an albino template. But after eons, right, the Architects of Humanity sends people like Tritonic with the hatred, I mean, just programmed with hatred of anything. The same type of people that just genocided, they murdered the people in Tasmania. We see the signature in these people today by the way they act. They come in all colors, but majority Tritonic right here. I'm glad he came into the chat. So they're on the surface, right? And then the Architects of Humanity send the new models, brainwashed programs to strip mine. They send them onto the surface to strip mine the planet's surface for minerals and build their future inventions. The people with less melanin would never know that those who they encountered in these tribal areas once looked like them, but they were somehow stranded on the surface and have adapted to the environment in different ways, like this woman right here gaining melanin. But when you see the melanin recede, she looks like basically a white person. And we see it on the hands. Underneath, we don't all come from Africa and how they're saying apes pushing that agenda. Underneath our melanin is a non-melanated template. And the monsters that came out here to kill all of us and kill even the ones that look just like them, they had to subjugate them. What they don't want is peace between people who look different, especially between dark and light people. George Carlin said it best. America only bombs brown countries. That's what it is. But we see the true template. All you got to do is look. I can take you up the mountain, out onto the plateau where you got a broad view of this truth, but you must open your eyes. The non-melanated template. This even afflicts, look at the man on the left. The white man on the left has it. It'll afflict the hair. You see his eyebrow. Well, he has heterochromia. One eye is blue. The other eye has a little melanin on it, and it gives it brown. The lady to the right, she has the vitiligo, and half of her hair doesn't have melanin, or very little, has very little to give it the blonde color, and the other half has more. You can see underneath the melanin, the paler complexion. So melanin is added. We see clearly that melanin is added. It is not inherent. It is a triggered response to the environment. We see it clearly when we look at these examples. Look at this man's hands. Look at this woman's hands. These are two people that they would mistakenly call black people. These people had adapted to the planet. We don't know when, thousands, tens of thousands of years ago. And then they send out the new models to just come out and again do what they did to Tasmania. I'm just putting forth the evidence. This man here, you see, look at his hands. Look at the patches. That's not over the melanin. He's getting, it's the depigmentation that's showing that. That's underneath. underneath the melanin. This girl here, an Indian girl, she would be brown. Underneath, what does she look like? A basic white girl. They're killing their own brothers and sisters because we have a little bit of a tan, and some people have, like this man, a lot more of a tan. You look at this guy here. Look at his hands. Look at his face. Look at the woman to the right. Beautiful. Has this, I wouldn't even call it a disorder because it's not. It's a different kind of beauty. It's a different kind of beauty. Now, yes, it can cause certain things as it gets like more deep, but because if the person's in the sun, it can actually trigger more of a reaction. Again, the solar reaction that deals with it. You see, I know one of these is a PNG. I'll see which one's. Oh, okay, this is the other one. This is showing him from face on. So I don't know what Tritonic, I don't know if he ran away from the chat already, but what he has to say about this, because when they come up with this BS evolution lie, I'm doing real science. This is how science works. When you look at the evidence and now you start to make a hypothesis, and I'm presenting that. The architects has taken me a while to make because I'm putting all the links and anybody can check the studies. Melanin is on top of the skin. It's not underneath the skin. This is a close-up of this lady, and you can see clearly. You look at that and it's like, wow, if we all knew that we all looked like this, because for some reason, if you look throughout history, they have brainwashed our white brothers and sisters to just be, not all of them, majority to be monsters toward anything that isn't lily white. I remember a white cop, he was retired and he worked at a health store, and I used to go in there and he would always talk to me and he would tell me, because the town was a predominantly white town. And he said, yeah, man, he goes, it's like they just want to keep some towns lily white. And this guy was so cool, Larry, man, to speak to me in that way and just be honest with me about just the brutality of the way people treat people because of the color of their skin. And if they would know that underneath that color, we're just like them. We're all the same. But the lie of evolution has to tell us that, no, these people are different. They come from monkeys. They come from it. What type of a lie is that? Evolution is basically a pseudoscientific blackface. When they make those pictures of hominids and all this stuff and telling us that, people come from apes, and it definitely ain't white people, right? It's always got to be like, they came from here and then it went into Africa and it turned into an ape, and then as they moved northern and they started to lose the melanin and change, and the eye got lighter. I already spoke about how the eye, anybody can go to laser depigmentation scientific journals and see that the melanin resides on top of the eye, can be removed in stages, and those stages will go from brown to light brown to amber to hazel to green to gray to blue, and then finally the albino eye behind it. This is why I put that in the Architects of Humanity. The albino eye is real. That's basically the template for it. We see it in animals. We see that albino eye in many animals. We see it in humans. We see it in insects. We see it in bacteria. We see it in plants and fungi. It's amazing the amount of stuff that I found. I found it in every type of life form. And they say, well, it's an anomaly. Remember, same people that told me Columbus discovered America, you can never believe them. You can never, ever believe them. Why? Because what does a snake become when it sheds its skin? A bigger snake. It becomes a bigger snake. Now, there's some of our brothers and sisters that are fighting them. It's like I said, not every Christian is a Klansman. But every Klansman is a Christian. Not every white person is a Klansman, but every Klansman is a white person. Same thing on the other side. We can find this all around. Just stating the obvious. If people got a problem with that, then they need to look into the mirror. What would be great is if people saw their character when they looked into the mirror instead of just a reflection. but I'm not even sure in this day and age if that would help. The research that I've done would probably fall on deaf ears. It probably will. I mean, it gets to a point to where I'm wondering, is it even worth doing this? Are people worthy of even knowing this? I mean, just the fact that somebody would come in and try to, you know, it's just crazy. But Christ of her, I got to give him so much credit for telling me that in the Matrix, when he looked around, he said, remember, it was like pink in all of the pods. And he was so right, man. He was so right. Thank you, Christopher, man, for leaving that comment with that in it. It's as if the movies, they know, but the majority of the population is not really that smart. So, you know, Dave, honestly, because he's a fake professor. I call him fake professor because I'm not gonna degrade professors for that buffoon. Dave honestly has made me question if Earth is round due to how much he forces people to believe in a black. Yeah. I mean, I don't. My friend Edgar said the most genius level thing to me the other day. I said, "Hey, man," and we went to high school together. I said, "Yo, where do you think we go after this, right?" And he said, "We don't even know where this is." And I was like, "Bro, thank you for teaching me, reminding me." And I'm not saying it's flat. I don't want to summon Scribe on here with that crap, and or Bro Sanchez. Of course, he's leading to the laboratory hypothesis that Scribe was telling me. Because if we both search for truth, we're going to end up at the same place. You can take different routes to get to the truth. My brother Red Blur, always a pleasure, bro. MD, last few streams are excellent, by the way. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that, man. I'm breaking it down here. Mark, my brother, what's up? Always a pleasure to see you, man. This is where the learning takes place. Dave, see, the thing is with fake Dave is that he's playing on what he's been taught. He's playing on it hard, too. I mean, the guy, it's sad. When you see him pushing that so hard, it's as if, again, he gets a paycheck for that. He gets paid to say that. Carl Sagan used to say, billions, evolution. He used to say evolution is a fact. Again, another lie. And they'll say, oh, well, things change. You don't admit that. That's called adaptation. Again, man, these are what we see here are professional liars. They are professional liars trying to keep people against each other. But they will never want to admit that darker people are more adapted to the planet and that something created us. And this something that created us is probably not the same thing that created our consciousness. We don't know where our consciousness comes from, how it's developed. Spirituality, some people might call it. We're not sure. Dave is a pure puppet. Is Dave a puppet, or does he actually believe it? I think he's a puppet that believes it. And he's rude and mad all of the time. You know why they're mad all of the time? Because they know they live a lie. They believe in a lie. They can't even laugh at themselves. I said before, because he brings out his kids and his wife and stuff. The only chance they have is to hope that the wife cheated on them and that ain't their father. That's the only chance those kids have. Imagine, some of us, we look at parents and it's like, you look at the kids and it's like, wow, that kid is in torture, man. He's always mad. And it just tells you something about him. This is the type of guys they get to push this agenda, this lying, just deceitful. I mean, evolution. I hope more people start to see this, that evolution is scientifically improbable. If you know how to do math, you can do calculations and say, well, wait a second. How long would it take for something to form by chance, right? And nature doesn't have a notebook, right? Because that would imply memory. So it's got to form by chance again and again. Just to get 10 to 20 amino acids to form a protein, you're going into the trillions. You're going into 10 to the 20th. That's beyond. That's like, I think, 100 quintillion. So you're getting deep. So you got a trillion, right? And then a quadrillion, and then a quintillion. And then I think, 100 of those. So you're getting into some big numbers here. And it's astronomically the number, if you calculate it, so small, it's almost the equivalent to zero. It's not going to happen. It's like saying, you know what? Nothing's impossible. You can throw the dice and get a 7 1,000 times. And they say, okay, well, can you throw it 10,000 times and get the same result? 1,000,000 times? 100 million? You know that that's not probable. And that's what they're saying with evolution. Yeah, and then it happened again, and it happened again. And it's all to say, well, it's just evolution. You see ants and animals conquer each other. So the immoral stuff we did, we shouldn't be blamed for that. It's a real psychological mind screw when you think about it. I tell people about drapetomania or drapetomania was something created by Benjamin Rush, right? And these other fools back in the psychiatric nutcase days, which, I mean, America is just, I don't even know what to call it now. But they said drapetomania was a disease that people got when they were dark. And the symptoms were you wanted to escape the plantation, the slave master. And he said the remedy is to whip the disease out of them. This is the logic, the illogic, basically, and unreason of the monsters that is still adorned on the psychiatric symbols today. It's just like the back of the nickel. I think, isn't that the Monticello plantation on the back of the nickel? You got Thomas Jefferson, you got a pedo's face on the front of the nickel, and on the back, you got the plantation where his victims were. I mean, if that ain't a spit in the face, what is? And then you wonder why there's so much PDF file stuff going on. I mean, look at, who was it? Kathy O'Brien, who wrote The Transformation of America, like TRANCE. And she was said that she was a traffic victim. And she accused Gerald Ford, the president after Nixon. I mean, you look through American history and it's dirty. It's dirty. And it's not saying anything against anybody. It's just stating the truth. If you see a guy that does a crime and you say, hey, he did a crime, they get mad because you say that. They get mad. This is the society that they've cultivated. It's monstrous. It definitely ain't civilization. It's just a barbaric cluster gang with technology. Immature, psychotic children with highly technological weapons. That's the scary thing. Technology, all of this technology doesn't make a person civil. How you treat one another makes you civil with civility. So there is no civilization here. It's a monstrosity, man. Yeah, and I'm glad you noticed that, Alexis. He's incredibly rude and mad all the time, man. But as I was showing before with the albino animals, albino people, this guy's got an albino snake around his neck. These two albino people have albino rabbits. And if you ever notice, all of the experimental animals in laboratories, like the lab rats and the mice and the rabbits and the guinea pigs, they're albino. They make sure they're albino. They're all albino. But as I was showing before, underneath the skin tells the truth. If you look at the left side of this guy, you see the blue eye, you add a little melanin, and you see the right eye has the brown. The girl here, you see underneath the melanin, you see what's underneath. We see it in all types of people, what's underneath. You can see it much more clearly in others. In some, it might be a little mixed up, but it's there. The signatures are there. What is underneath, people don't want to admit this. They want to say, well, it's some type of, again, dis-ease or a syndrome or something. Never following what is real, the scientific method. If you use the scientific method, you start to add 2 and 2, and you will get 4. You can add 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 and get 4. You can add 2 plus 2 and get 4. You can add 3 plus 1 and get 4, right? 6 minus 2 and get 4. There's many ways to arrive at the truth, man. There's many ways. I'm just looking to see if I had uploaded. I had the I thing. I thought I uploaded. I'll upload it again. But the I thing, let me see. Where did I put that? The eyes. Yeah, the I, when I looked at this, let me see if I can have these. Try to upload those 4. StreamYard only lets me upload certain amounts of stuff. And I know Friday night, most people are busy, but I figured I'd stream. Maybe people watch it after. I tell people, look, you watch the stream live, you get a live stream with no commercials. Afterwards, I'm putting them on, and then it is what it is. So I think it would benefit to watch the live stream. And again, the country is, the world, you see immature, just immaturity, man. The hatred. It's horrible, man. Monsters, straight monsters from the depths of fairy tale hell, right? It really gets me thinking. But when they try to separate people and say these people come from apes, man, that's the same Jim Crow stuff that we can see back in the early part of the 19th or 20th century, that it's the same signature, man, different thing. And that was right around the time they were fighting to the Scopes trial to teach evolution in school. So imagine 40 years they forged Piltdown Man, and 40 years they didn't uncover the lie. So for 40 years, 2 to 3 generations of people, right? And it's just like, wait a minute, those people are brainwashed into thinking, oh, Piltdown Man was the so-called transitional fossil, which they call missing link. Again, another deceitful play on words. And then they find out it's a fraud. But nobody remembers. When I look at these people, most people that go into evolution have been traumatized by religion. Again, evolution is a religion, so nobody converts. You have to be mentally sick enough to accept it. Nietzsche was right when he said that. That was very accurate. You look at the behavior. Now, you got some good people that are in many religions. You find good people in there. The majority, straight psychiatric hospital, straight jacket level. You're looking at Thorazine injection level nutcase. Look at Jim Jones. This is what it leads to. This is what it leads to. Heaven's Gate. It's what it leads to. It's crazy, but hey, you know what? Truth is usually stranger than fiction. But with the patches and stuff on people's skin, that the vitiligo, right? We see this, and these people are beautiful, man. You look at people that have this, and they go through life with such a stigma because how much people emphasize on looks. And hopefully it does something to teach them about kindness. And, you look at that and it's like, look, these people, this lady, she has a beauty. She'll make any color look beautiful. She make any color look beautiful, man. And I could imagine the stuff that they get from certain people, like, oh, well, you're, this and that. And it's like, come on, man. It's like, can you at least try to pretend to act like a human being? Can you try to pretend to act like that? It's crazy, man. But what I had wrote, and some of the stuff, I'm going to put it together. The people, so the people with less melanin that are sent out by the architects of humanity, and this is just a hypothetical situation to say, look, when I put all the evidence in the book and publish it, then we'll go further. But, the people, they make it to the planet's surface. They adapt over thousands of years, eons later. The architects of humanity send the new models, brainwashed, programs to hate, and to strip mine the planet for minerals, and using the people who have adapted to the planet to do the strip mining. That's the crazy thing, to build their future inventions, which we see today. The people with less melanin would never know those who they encounter in these tribal areas once looked like them, but they were somehow stranded on the surface and have adapted to the environment in different ways. If they knew this, then attacking us would be out of the question. We would be accepted as their long lost brothers and sisters. But the architects have programmed them with the superiority complex, making them think they are closer to being human or even closer to being God than those who are different. This could very well explain the scenario we see today. And I'll be putting a lot of that stuff, I have it, I'm reading it off my document from actually one of the chapters. And, I go into stuff about how evidence can take us to scary places. To see the forbidden face of reality as it changes before us is something that can only be viewed by an open mind, free from bias, certainty. Certainty, when you think you're certain about something, usually you're not. And preconceived notions. So you free yourself from bias, certainty, and preconceived notions. Reality begins to reveal its secrets. And what we may see may not be what we wanted to see. That's the unexpected. Remember, comes in from the sideways, the peripheral. Never usually found when you're directly looking for it. But reality isn't offended. The new face of the raw face of existence, smiles behind every scene we could ever imagine. It waits for us. The truth is quiet. It comes in uninvited, sits there and just waits for somebody to notice it. It has no need to apologize. That's how the truth is. So we'll be breaking the limits that were imposed upon us, The book is a doorway, an entrance into the metaphorical rabbit hole of life. And like my friend DJ Edgar, when I asked him, he was like, look, man, we don't even know where this is. And that's one thing I give the earthers on, because even though they can get like kind of annoying with that cult, which this is what I look at it as, is a cult, because basically if I agree with them, they chill out. So that's how I know it's a cult. There's no, scientific evidence. They'll say, I said, listen, why don't we charter a plane? You see, Juranism went to Antarctica and they look at him as a traitor. Why? Because he searched for truth. Now, of course, he's definitely playing the other side because he's with fake Dave and all these other guys. So now he's on the evolution train and he's on the full global agenda. I mean, I'm not saying it's what they're saying it is. I would say it's something that it could be bigger. It could be bigger. See, to say that the earth is what they say it is, when you look at like a circular earth and you say, okay, well, yeah, how would the water and everything be kept on it? And then they have to make up other stuff. And we know that they have a long list of lies. So yeah, we definitely, it has to be questioned. Definitely. If you can't question it, there's a problem. There's a problem. But when you look at a lot of these people that believe in the earth thing, they're scammers, they're grifters. If we could charter a plane, and do some of these experiments ourselves, not the ones where they say, oh, well, you shoot the laser. Nah, let's fly up in the plane, man. Rock it like you rock it. And then you'll see the chicken feathers come out. You see the chicken feathers come out and they got excuses and all of this stuff. This is why I don't really bother with it. This is more scientific, just to say, what would I really say to them? Because their whole agenda is to zombify you. It's to say, look, they lied about this. They lied about, it's like, really? It's like, where do we come from, man? How do we get here? And people make up stuff. Oh, well, we're all, they're different types. I mean, look at the Billy Carson thing. He's now with the Galactic Federation of BS. These people, and and as much as psychiatric they are, they still make more sense than evolution. It just shows me evolution is another branch on the psych ward. Clearly, a dangerous branch on the psych ward. But not too many are going to look in that direction. Saturday night might be a little better because it's like most people I notice just either want to come home on Friday and rest, or I want to just go out somewhere. Me, I'm busy doing research every night, every morning. Tomorrow, 2 days, just all day. I'm gonna be trying to get this book edited. But I wanted to present some of this evidence that showed people again. We know for one that the eye gains melanin, the architects of humanity in this chart that I made. So you have the darkest eye to the right, then you have the brown, the light brown, the amber, the hazel, the greenish gray, the blue, and then the albino template on the left. I had recreated it in a few different things, like this one here. I think, yeah, this is from the side view. And I thought this one was a little better, but for some reason the irises on this one looks better. Maybe the angle here looks a little different. So if that's the albino template of the eye, then it would show us that when we look at, okay, the pink, we see the pink, so devoid of the melanin. The body, we see it with the dolphin, we see it with humans of all types, afros. That's a platinum blonde afro, naturally, these twin girls. Blue eyes, albinism of the eye, and you look at the skin. I mean, there's beauty in this. There's beauty in everything. They say you never grow old when you see beauty. Maybe that's why I'm so young at heart. And also, you got to also have your defenses. You know, you can't be, hey, sometimes people push you to that limit, and then when they get what they deserve, they act like the victim, right? Well, good. But now we start to see, oh, the melanin does overlay. It does overlay the albino template. I mean, these are beautiful pictures. When I look at some of these, man, these people, this girl here is beautiful, man. This is beautiful. It just beauty in all of this. And we see underneath, man, how the melanin coats the top. We see it in all peoples, how the melanin coats the top. The melanin is the overlay, the adaptation, not the evolution. They'll try to say that, oh, they evolved. They'll try to twist this. They'll try to take some of my research and twist it. But hopefully I'm still here to defend, and to hopefully other people will take up and start researching, because I might not be here forever, man. Well, I definitely know I'm not, but I might not be here too long. I might not take up the research and see that behind the melanin, there is the true face of humanity. They were trying to tell us that everybody comes from an ape. And again, ignorance has no prejudice. So when you look on the side of these so-called black supremacists, oh, they ate that up, because remember, ignorance has no prejudice. They didn't think about, like, wait a second, you're going to accept that thing as original man stuff, but then that also says you're a monkey, and it says other people are more human than you. Oh, but you know, we built everything and this and that. Well, not according to science. Maybe after people adapted to the planet, but regardless, your eyes are blue, and what's under your brown skin, black skin, tan, olive, whatever it is a pale template. That's what the science is showing. Now, if something comes up that's different, I'll go in that direction and say, okay, we have to take this into account, because I'm not on no religious agenda or any pseudoscience agenda. I'm saying this is what it is. Depigmentation is clearly what we see in vitiligo. It's clearly patches of skin. They try to say, and this is the funniest thing, they'll try to lie and say they turn white or significantly lighter. Depigmentation is not turning white, it's losing melanin. The word itself, depigmentation, it's losing the pigmentation, the hair whitening, hair on the scalp, eyelashes, eyebrows. We saw the guy with the eyebrow, and the beard. It also, you know, mucous membranes, loss of color inside the mouth, right? Because you know that some people have darker gums, and there's also neuromelanin. See, that's something I'll get into later on in other streams. And the patches can start small and spread over time, right? It can remain in one area, but it can spread over time. You've had people had the melanin that basically like receded from them. There's one guy where you only see, I didn't save the picture, but he has still, you can see parts of his face are brown, but almost the rest of his body, it has come off. I mean, again, you look at it with, look at Michael Jackson. He did it chemically. He did it chemically. So they try to, again, I study both sides because you have to know your enemy, how they're going to come at you. But the course is unpredictable. They say patches may stabilize and condition can progress. No cure, but treatment like topical medications, light therapy, and a few other things can help restore skin pigment. So right here, when they say it can help restore skin pigment, so it is the loss of skin pigment again. But when you go higher up, symptoms, patches of skin turn white. Well, they get so contradictory on the language they use. It's ridiculous. You have to become your own researcher. That's basically what it is. But yeah, man, I think 10:37. I don't know. I'll see how much longer. Okay. Prognosis. They don't have a reason of why it's caused. They say it's the immune cell destroying melanocytes, which is pigmented cells, likely from a mix. Likely. See, these are the words you got to look for. Likely from a mix of genetic. Likely. So they don't know. They don't know. Again, man, it comes down to language. Language is so important. And English is a language. It's basically a language that's meant to control. There's a lady, I think it's Brodowski or something like that. I forgot, Lyra something, I think her name is. She gave a TED talk. She's very scientific, very smart on language. And she shows how English is a language that has a way of blaming. And they had a thing where a vase, somebody acted as a film, and they showed it to English speakers and Spanish speakers, right? And the person in the video accidentally knocks over the vase. English speakers remembered who the person was to blame, like more of a blame. Oh yeah, that person knocked over the vase, right? Knowing it's an accident, and the person did knock over the vase, but the fact that it's an accident is an important fact in that, but it's not really mentioned. Oh, but that's the person that knocked it over. In Spanish, they said most of the people would recognize that what happened was an accident. Oh, a vase was accidentally knocked over. I don't remember who knocked it over, but yeah, it was an accident. The English was blaming the person, the blame. It was a blaming type. She kind of scientifically showed this. And I was like, man, this is some deep stuff. And she was getting into other things on how language, especially the English language, it has this kind of provocatory type of thing to it, element. And we see, like, people in other languages would say, well, there's really no translation that we can give you. So English has been turned into a language which is meaningless. It's meaningless and it's meaningless. Germanic, right? The German language, German, when you see that there are some things that also cannot really be fully translated, like they have that old saying, what doesn't kill you make you more stronger. That's the ignorant English translation. The real translation is a little closer to, and again, we can't fully translate it because we don't have the words. They've omitted stuff like that. Is what doesn't kill you makes you more resilient. So resilient is a little closer to the word than just makes you stronger. I mean, and again, that's like whoever made that saying, it just sounds American. It sounds kind of American. I wouldn't even say it's British English. It sounds very, very American, because British English is where English comes from, right? English, right? Anglo-Saxons, the British, and we and those, hey, we got relatives everywhere, man. We're all connected, whether you like it or not. One big dysfunctional family created by the architects of humanity. But I'm gonna get ready to sign off, man. Broadcasting straight from the psychiatric ward called Planet Earth. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I'm going to try to upload a video and then stream tomorrow night. But you guys take care, man. Have a good one. We'll talk soon. Peace.